the initial release of the web browser-based jailbreak that works on firmwares 9.0 to 12.0. Now, of course, it runs the kind of normal WebKit jailbreak experience where you have to access a publicly available website or host it yourself on your own computer to be able to load the jailbreak. And then, of course, once the jailbreak is complete, you then get the different payloads that you can select that are hosted on the website itself. But this WebKit-based autoloader from its PLK aims to bring the experience to the same level as the other autoloaders we have for the YouTube jailbreak and the Blu-ray jailbreak. So, for instance, this one will automatically load the payload manager, but it also has a few interesting tricks like the ability to effectively use this completely offline once you have it set up. Okay, so to get started, we're going to head over to our settings. We're going to go to our system settings, and then we want to go to system software and system software update and settings. And again, make sure both of these boxes in this section are unchecked. Then we're going to go to console information and check our system software version, which is this number right here. We want to make sure that number is somewhere between 9.00 and 12.00. So any number from 9.00 up to 12.0 will be a compatible firmware that's able to do this jailbreak. So once we know we're on a compatible firmware, we can head back out to our network settings, go to settings, connect to the internet, and set up an internet connection. Press options on your registered network and go to advanced settings. And then from here, we're going to go down to DNS settings, switch it over to manual, and set the primary DNS to 62.210.38.117. This is the first method I will show you that works completely without a computer. You can do this all on the console itself. So we enter that IP address as our primary DNS, and then we click OK and get connected up to the network. Now it will give us an error saying can't connect to the internet. That's normal. That's just because we're blocking Sony servers. So if we head over to the user guide page here, it should take us over to this security certificate. If it does not, if it takes you to the normal user guide, then you'll need to log out of your profile and log back in to refresh it. Then it should work. If it's still not working and you're getting things like SSL errors and it's just taking you to a white page, then I will show you an alternative method. But first, if you are able to get on here, we can click yes to accept the security certificate. So if you're able to get onto this website, we're going to go to the FlopKit option and run one of the hosts in here. At the moment, there's only Georgie's host. So I'll select that one, and then we'll go ahead and run the jailbreak. So this is the normal WebKit jailbreak, not the autoloader version, but we'll use this to get the autoloader version installed. So we run this jailbreak, wait for it to complete. If it loads successfully, we get the ELF loader running and our payloads that we can select. And the only payload we want to run here is the payload manager. So we'll select payload manager, and that will get payload manager installed. And there we go, it opens up on our console. And then from here, we can go to manage payloads. We can go to the cloud repository and go to, I believe it would be under loaders. There we go, we have WebKit Autoloader installer. We just install this payload. So once you have the WebKit Autoloader installer installed, we can run it right here, and that will get it installed onto our console. So there it goes, WebKit Autoloader installer is now installed, it's cached, it's all good to go, and we can see it here. So the next time we run the jailbreak, we can load this, and it will automatically load the payload manager after running the jailbreak, and that means we can set up the payload manager to install and run all of our additional payloads. So for instance, if we go into system and jailbreak, we can install the case.lite payload and get that installed, run our, Homebrew applications and fake packages. We can go to utilities and tools and install Shadow Mount Plus, which will be used to mount our PlayStation 5 game backups. So there's a bunch of different things that you can install there. And then once you have your payloads installed, you can, of course, either run them from the dashboard section, or you can set them to autoload the next time you run the jailbreak by going to the autoloader, enabling the autoload sequence, then adding your payloads in one by one, like KStuffLite, Shadow Mount Plus, and maybe Nano DNS if you need Nano DNS. So that's the real quick and easy way to get this jailbreak set up. If you're able to use that DNS server of 62.210.38.117, it will get you up and running. Now, whenever you reboot the console and run the jailbreak again from this WebKit Autoloader, you can see it just automatically runs the jailbreak. And once it completes, it will then auto-run the payload manager, which then will kick in with your autoload sequence and load any of your autoload payloads automatically. So it's literally just one click of loading the WebKit Autoloader, and then you just wait for all of your payloads to get loaded. However, of course, there are going to be some of you where the user guide page is not going to work, and you're going to try entering that 622.210.38.117 address, and then when you try to go to the user guide page here, you'll get something like this, SSL error, or just a white screen, or it just will not work. So if you're in that situation, there is another way that we can install it. So the alternative installation method is to make sure you have a computer somewhere that you can use, and you want to head over to the WebKit Autoloader release page, which will be linked in the video description, and download the Autoloader host, either the exe file or the Python script. Exe file works on Windows, the Python script is for other operating systems. So because I'm on Windows, I downloaded the executable version. If we open up this tool, and that is going to run a local web server and DNS server that is hosting the Autoloader installer, and it's hosting it on your computer's IP address, which is listed here. But all you have to do is go back over to your network settings and set your primary DNS server to the IP address of your computer. In this case, it's 192.168.1.128. So I enter that as my primary DNS, and I accept those settings and get connected up to the network. Again, it will say can't connect to the internet, but it should be connected over to your computer via the DNS. So at this point, we can then head over to the user guide page. Again, you might have to log out and log back in to refresh it if it still doesn't take you to the correct website. But when you go to the user guide, it should take you now over to the WebKit Autoloader installer, which will then install the shortcut on the media section, so you'll be able to use that to load the jailbreak again in future. And once you've done that, you can then go back to your DNS settings, set the DNS server to 127.0.0.1, and then accept that as your new DNS server. Once you've done that, you can then switch over to your computer once more, and you should no longer need this tool running. Now that you have it installed, we can close out of this, and then just grab yourself a USB drive here and copy the nano DNS payload over to the root of the USB. I'll leave a link to this down in the video description. Make sure it's the PS5 version of the payload that you're downloading, not the PS4 version. And then if we head back over to the PS5, you'll probably have to restart your PS5 and then load the WebKit Autoloader in order to run the payload manager. Once you have the payload manager running, you can then head into the settings, check the box to scan USB payloads, go to Manage Payloads where you will find Nano DNS, and you can move it or copy it to the internal storage. And once you've done that, you can then load Nano DNS. From here, you can load it directly from the dashboard section, and once that's loaded, you should now be able to access the Manage Payload section cloud repository by refreshing the cloud repository, and then you can download all of your payloads here, and again, set up the autoloader to autoload those payloads, just like I did in the previous method. So that is the other way to do it. It's a little bit more involved, but if you're not able to use any of the public DNS servers because of your internet service provider or router settings blocking it or redirecting it, then you can set it up manually this way instead. So to give you guys an example, once you have everything set up with your autoloader payloads, when we reboot the console and we're not running the jailbreak anymore, all we have to do is head over to the media section, run the WebKit Autoloader, and as you can see, it goes through and runs the jailbreak automatically, and then loads the payload manager. And because I set up the payload manager before with the autoloader, it will autoload the payloads that I have installed so that we're up and running with the jailbreak with effectively a single click. So that is basically how you get up and running with that. And again, you can also go to the settings here and uncheck the box to connect to the internet. You can be completely disconnected from the internet and still be able to access the WebKit Autoloader because it's cached in the browser. Obviously, it's not necessary to disconnect from the internet. If you're using Nano DNS with 127.0.0.1 as your DNS server, then you do have system updates blocked, and if you use the public DNS server 62.210.30.117, it also gives you internet access while blocking Sony servers, so it's safe to be connected to the internet when you have one of those DNS addresses applied. So anyway, that's going to do it here for this one. That's how you get the WebKit Autoloader set up and running to run the jailbreak on your PS5 from 9.0 to 12.0 directly from the web browser with a single click once you have everything set up. So hope you guys enjoyed this one or found the